Hello, Kamini. Welcome to Writersmelon. I was just telling you
Hello.
it's one of the rare occasions when I am not really strictly talking to an author, but someone who is a practicing yoga teacher, a trainer. And I'm sure this conversation is going to be probably somewhat different from writing, plotting, character development. I don't know. But let's see. So tell us, Kamini, tell us about your journey so far in the world of yoga.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Okay. Uh, okay. Thank you, Priyanka, for having me over. And yes, now, so my journey really, I can tell you, is like I really didn't know anything about yoga in the sense that it is something other than just attending to your discomfort, health, and all those,
Okay.
just for your physical fitness and things like that. So I also kind of did yoga because I had some niggling problems, which I thought were hereditary, because my father also had acidity, stomach, tender stomach, and always complaining of pain and tiredness in his legs, or mere pair daba do, and we had as children constantly pressing his legs. So I also had those same problems. I said, Father had it, so I have it. But just 15 days of my yoga, and these things just disappeared.
Okay.
And that really got me, yes, hooked on. And not only just hooked on, but it really sort of, made me very curious. And I really dived into the books and the practice, and I signed up for a yoga teacher's training program. And so that's how it really started. And it is my fortune that somewhere along the way, I realized that body is a very, very small thing for yoga. It's like using, I've written it in my book also, an elephant to kill an ant,
Okay.
for health issues.
Okay.
So there's a lot more. That is the tip of iceberg for yoga.
Okay. So when you
So yeah, so that was the beginning. Yeah, tell me.
So I'm
Yeah.
saying, so when you say that body is just a tip of the iceberg, so you mean that in order to experience the full potential or the benefits of yoga, there is a lot of mind and spirit and soul that needs to get into the practice. Do you mean that?
Yes. Even the soul aspect and all, I didn't know much about.
Mm,
But then, because I started reading a lot, I came to know. But I've also found that, including myself, I had this notion that anything to do with going into the other worldly things like soul and atma, and
mm,
pursuing those things is something which doesn't go with your worldly life. Like, you have to
mm,
leave the worldly life, then what
mm,
happens to your children, your family,
mm.
and all the things you are so attached
Okay.
to, like enjoying the regular things. So
Mm,
I also had that idea. And now, of course, having dived into it and understood the whole picture, I know there is no such thing. And
mm,
these fears and these misgivings and this feeling that you have to, it is something else, than your everyday life, is not so.
mm.
In fact, no practice is complete without experiencing the outside world also, and
Okay.
experiencing your full potential
Mm,
against that too, you
okay.
know. So I've
Okay.
given some examples of Shankaracharya himself,
Mm-hmm.
who was ascetic very early in life, and he never, he was a celibate, and
Mm,
how he lost a debate only because this aspect of the life was not complete in him, and he had no knowledge of
mm.
it. So that's there in my book. So
Okay.
in that debate, so he went to experience it, and then he came back to the debate
Right.
to give. Yeah, so there are many such examples. Even Herman Hesse, his Siddharth story, He starts very early the pursuit of spiritual, but he's never experienced conjugal, things, a woman. And so he experiences that. And later in life, he experiences what it means to be attached as a father,
Hmm.
you know. And after all those years of spiritual practice, he's not able to control his,
Hmm.
attachment to his son. So these are the examples which shows that best is to make the
Have
best
a
of both
balance.
worlds. And,
Hmm.
yes, because yoga is all about balance, and
Balance.
yoga is all about union. So you
Correct.
cannot remove anything
Anything.
and say, yeah, in fact, you have to go on joining
Hmm.
everything for yoga to happen. Yes.
Right. So you particularly talk about the Kundalini yoga, and I was just researching a bit because I just got curious, and because I do a lot of Hatha yoga, so which is I think the more vinyasa, the flow, the physical aspect of it. And when you say Kundalini yoga, it has got to do with like awakening your spine and pranayam practice and a lot of breath work, right? So tell us more about what is Kundalini yoga and why do we need it so much in today's day and age?
Yes. So, Kundalini, how you would look at it differently is only because of the techniques.
Hmm.
Like you said, Hatha Yoga, Vinyasa, and all that. So, everybody is evolved now, so you have so many schools doing different
Yes.
things and all that. Yes. So, but um Kundalini is present in everybody.
Okay.
Everybody, even animals have it. This whole universe also has, Kundalini and chakras and all that. These are all points of psychic points of energy.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
but before I get into the technical aspect and the more esoteric aspect of Kundalini, I'd like to just give you an example that
Okay.
uh, who would you say has got awakened Kundalini?
Okay. Okay.
Then it becomes clear to you that what you
Hmm.
mean by saying awakening
Kundalini
of
yoga.
Kundalini.
Yes.
Yes. So let us say if you think of Mother Teresa,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Now, one would say, yes, her Kundalini was awakened. Now, she has not done any Kundalini yoga and all that.
Okay.
But there are many ways by which the same result happens. So,
Okay.
she was into Karma Yoga, what is known as Karma Yoga. That too is a path to awakening your Kundalini and
Hmm.
reaching the highest in spiritual life. So, although she was so old, and she has so much energy because she was in this service, seva,
Hmm.
compassion, love, giving, wiping off suffering. This beautiful thing where yourself is lost. You're only thinking of the others suffering and
Correct.
trying to, yes. So her Kundalini was awakened, one will say. And then, and these kind of people just attack the whole world. They may not have anything, she
Hmm.
had what? No money, no nothing, no personal, but the world's wealth comes to you, the
Hmm.
world comes to you, and you live forever.
Hmm.
So that one would say is a person who
Awakening.
then
Truly awakening.
awakened
Okay.
through awakening. It can be to a scientist, it can be to an artist, a musician, even a businessman, anybody. But they are with their awakened with their highest potential of mind, body, consciousness. Yeah. So that is the example. So to understand, then uh, if you want, I can explain the esoteric aspect also.
Explain what is Kundalini yoga? What is, because we all know yoga, but we don't know what exactly is the different, are the different types of yoga. Because yoga, I think, so far has been interpreted by so many people in so many ways that it is now in a completely different forms everywhere, right? I mean, because it's such an old ancient
Yeah.
practice, people have interpreted it, made it their own in a way. I mean, I was just telling you about the yoga culture here in Europe. So people have just made it their own. So I would love to know your interpretation of it. How do you do your daily yoga practice? How do you, what is your approach of doing it without probably doing much of yoga? You could do that. I'm sure you'd be doing that a
I'm not
lot.
ready.
Yes, I don't want to
Yeah.
bring that
In
surprise to
between,
you.
we'll see.
Yes, but tell us, what is your
Yeah.
understanding, or what is Kundalini yoga, and what is your understanding and interpretation of it?
Yeah. So I'll come to that. But one little thing I'd like to clear is that I have been mostly uh, dwelling deep into a scriptural, traditional, pure form of yoga. And
Hmm.
the Bihar School of Yoga, Swami Satyananda Saraswati, who I've been following his book, there are hundreds of books he's written, and on every aspect of not only yoga, Upanishad, the Gita, everything, Patanjali, everything is there. So I've
Good.
been reading all that, So I have no idea of the new type of schools going on. I do keep hearing, and somebody says, I did this yoga, that yoga, and my score was this much, and today it was this much, all those kind of things. But I have not been a part of that. And I have just been doing this very pure traditional form of yoga, which is very scientific.
Hmm.
Uh, there's very little scope really to improve on it.
Okay.
People are doing all kinds, but you don't need. You should just equip yourself with that knowledge, which has stood the test of time more
Right.
than even the scientific. Yeah, like medicines, doctors, they say, oh, now that is gone. Now
Hmm.
diabetes is not this, and cholesterol is not. So it all keeps changing. But
Hmm.
this our pure form of yoga, which is there in our scriptures
Okay.
and in those time and tested, very little needs to be done on it. You only need to follow that path. So that being so, I've been practicing that. Now, where Kundalini is concerned, so like you said, Hatha Yoga. Initially Hatha Yoga was just body cleansing practice. It was
Hmm.
just 6 Shat Karmas, they are known, which is that anybody who's doing the practice must first cleanse himself. We are all like our lifestyle, what we eat, what we think. And so there's so much garbage inside that we need to cleanse our body. So, like in everything in pure yoga, you first start with cleansing your body and bringing certain imbalances into balance and throwing
Hmm.
out a lot of toxins, not only physical but
Also
mental
mental.
also.
Hmm.
Yes. So this Shankrakshalan, which I've described in the book, and I've been giving this practice to a lot of people, it has therapeutic benefits. It also has emotional and mental benefits. So that whole theory is explained there. So ideally, a serious practitioner should start with cleansing himself, just
Hmm.
his body,
Hmm.
you know and then for Kundalini, you start with very normal practice. That's why in my book, I've started with first stage, which is for people who have not even done any yoga.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
because Kundalini really scares people,
Yeah.
oh, it's a very advanced. And if I don't do, and if I don't have this proper teacher, a lot of fears are there. So
Yes.
that is why I started with the basic. And also with due humility, I will say I read a lot which Swami Shivananda Saraswati, Swami Satyananda Saraswati have said that, so many years back, they said this will be the time
Hmm.
to reveal all these secret practices to the world, because generally the consciousness of the world would have come to a certain state, which we
Okay.
can see. Now,
Okay.
everybody all over the world is practicing yoga.
Yes.
So that gave me the confidence that I can,
Talk
present
about it.
Kundalini
Yeah.
yoga, yeah, without fear of doing something which is being prohibited in the scriptures or anything. In
Yeah.
fact, they said this will be the right time, and we can see
Hmm.
people have been practicing it for the body, for
Hmm.
health, etc. So now is the time to tell them that yes, health you will gain, and but it is progressive.
Hmm.
Yoga is not something that ends with something. It's a progressive
To
practice.
practice.
So
Yeah.
now, yes, and it's progressive. You keep advancing and advancing, and you reach the ultimate purpose of life. In fact,
Correct.
So Kundalini Yeah, so the practice itself will start differing in the third stage, where you have tuned in your body, brought it to a very nice state. You have thrown out all problems. You have no issues of any chronic problems, and your immunity is so good, your central nervous system, everything is, you brought it to a fine state. And then only you can sit for the Kundalini practice, which requires you to sit, from say half an hour to progressively develop it to sitting for 1 hour
Wow.
with your eyes closed. Yes, so how will you sit in for 1 hour
My average is
if you
15 to 20 minutes, Kamini.
Oh, that's good.
one
That's
hour in
good.
between 1 hour in between work and kids and work in household chores sounds like a little unachievable, no? And are you talking about daily?
Yeah, so that's
Are you
why
talking about daily or
yeah. So don't think of all this. What I you ask me, so I'm answering. But people get scared, They say, "ये तो मेरे से होने वाला नहीं, तो मैं करूँगी." Or like that. So, but even fortunately for me, since I just went on doing things, without stressing about ki this, that, and the other. But since I have now so much energy
Hmm.
and so much mind is clear and functioning, that I do a small business, I do my yoga, I do my writing. So there's so many things I'm managing to do with this
Yes,
practice, which is there, which has only been increasing with time. So
true.
don't worry about that. Yoga gives you everything along the way. It will give you the space, it will give you the time, it will give you the energy, everything.
Hmm.
Only follow follow it
Practice.
properly.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, practice, and practice it as it tells, not this new thing of achieving. And even there you will say that I did so many Surya Namaskar and then
Yeah.
talk about it. No.
Yeah.
So
It
you
should be
have to
like
share
personal
all that.
goal, and you stretch yourself every day and benchmark yourself with your own
Yes,
body, understand how much it is able to do and how you can take it forward.
correct. Understand how much it is able to do. That's the
Yes.
crux.
Yes. Yes.
So because you have to be completely relaxed with yourself, completely comfortable. Sukham sthiram asanam. That is the definition of asan. Not contorting your body, getting into difficult state, and for that preparing the stress in the mind that now I must do this, and that's not yoga at all. Sukham sthiram asanam is yoga, which is whatever the posture, you should get into a very comfortable state, very relaxed state. Then only yoga is
Absolutely.
happening.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So tell us, Kamini, how should one start a regular yoga practice? What is the best way to motivate yourself? And what do you think is like realistic for someone who has never done yoga? I mean, I have been doing it for 1 year almost, and for me, it started with a yoga camp, like I just told you in Portugal. But how should somebody really start it, and what are some of the intentions that one should have in order to bring yoga practice into their lives, and why do you think it is important?
Yes. So, as never before, now yoga is totally relevant because stress and tension has increased in direct proportion to the luxury, comforts, money, and
Absolutely.
everything that we've got.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, yoga is the only, if you follow the traditional. Now, I don't know about these people who say, create stress about it, of achieving it, and no. But if
Mm.
you follow this in that factored into the practice, you will read in my book also again and again and again. I've said that you have to first see that your body is fully relaxed. You start
Hmm.
with a relaxed body, and then you discover that how many places in the body you involuntarily are stressing up,
True.
tightening up. Because different people have, some tighten their jaws, some tighten the shoulder area, some lower back, different places. So you start relaxing. You become aware that these are the places. keep on tightening myself. So when I'm teaching, I keep on observing very intently. I can see somebody's fingers get tight, like this, instead of being
Hmm.
relaxed. So I make them aware. So they didn't even realize that they had
Hmm.
tightened it. The moment you say, okay, now we start, everybody just, it's ingrained in us from childhood that if you do something, then you must, it's a stress message to the brain.
True.
But it's the opposite in yoga, and that is, I tell you, in today's world, if people just learn relaxation through yoga, which is
That's enough.
shavasana and yog nidra, I'm telling you, they don't
That's
need to
my
think I
favorite
must
yoga
do
position. I didn't tell
sirsasana.
you.
And I'm telling you, that is the most powerful yoga.
Yes.
That teaches you what, you have to undo what you're
Yes.
learning in the outside. Yes. So yeah, so I try to do that, and that is, then yoga starts happening. So first thing is relaxation. Second thing is watching your breath, synchronizing your movement with your breath. Otherwise, yoga is not happening. These two things. Third is internal, even if your eyes are open or closed. But every time you have to observe that if I'm doing this, just
Hmm.
the simple movement, then you have to observe your throat and visualize your thyroid glands, visualize the veins and arteries, visualize that you're massaging these organs,
Be
visualize
mindful
the
about everything. Yeah.
about your internal self,
Yeah.
your body,
Exactly.
which we are, yeah, so that is the third thing. And fourth thing, yeah, these are the three important things for yoga to happen. So relaxation, awareness, and breathing awareness. Then one will say you will automatically start, everything starts happening, then. So I will
Yes.
tell that don't stress. My first stage is so simple. And I keep telling people, don't go after all these difficult things to prove yourself. You prove in the outside world. Here you come, you don't need to prove anything. You just do the limbering up. I tell you that limbering up and relaxation, 95%, 75% of people's problems will be over. No jokes. It's such a simple, Swami Satyananda has very nicely arranged it. It's in the traditional form, Sukshma Vyayam, it's called, but he's turned it, put it in three practices: Pavan Muktasan 1, 2, and 3. You just start with the 1, then introduce 2 and introduce 3. Uh, बस इतना ज्यादा भी नहीं करने का है. इतना, this much
I
is
love this
very good.
when you say इतना ज़्यादा भी नहीं करना है. I think I think
No, it's
I
so
think people who
sad
will
when
watch
I see
this
this.
interview would really say that, this is the kind of yoga teacher I want, and this is the kind of books that I would book that I would want to read. Because yes, I mean, often we don't want our workout to actually feel like work, because that's exactly what we don't want to do when we are exercising or doing something for our mind and body. And it is very refreshing to also hear it from an expert that you don't need to do so much. You can start with little practice. You can get your basics right, get connected to your. And I'm sure after COVID especially, a lot of people have embraced a lot more yoga, a lot more physical exercise sitting at home in lockdown, I'm sure, because that's how I saw a lot of social media posts going around, people flaunting their yoga poses. And I think that's a very welcome change, because I think now people are
Yeah,
finally realizing how important
yeah,
this whole
very good.
property is, uh, internal, external,
Yes,
and
yes,
how it's so important to take care of it. I'm very, very
yes,
thankful to you, Kamini, to make it for this interview at such a short notice. And I had so much fun talking to you. I'm definitely going to check out some of the videos, and I hope you will come up with more, and you will
yes.
make. I mean, you will make yoga more popular and more fun for people.
Yes, that I mean, really make it easy and relaxing
Yes,
so that it builds your immunity. Yeah, really.
absolutely.
Relaxation is what builds your immunity. Yeah.
Absolutely. So don't get
Thank you so
scared by
much. I also
yoga.
love this talk.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kamini. Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Okay.